It is Thursday, June 11th, 2026. The World Cup just opened. The ceasefire is breaking. Here are 5 stories that reveal where we stand. 1. The United States launched overnight strikes against Iran, testing whether the ceasefire survives. U.S. forces struck Iranian targets across multiple cities early Thursday morning. Initial assessments indicate the U.S. intercepted nearly all Iranian missiles and drones in response, according to U.S. military officials. Trump announced the strikes early Thursday, saying Iran had delayed ongoing peace negotiations. Trump said talks can resume immediately if Iran cooperates and commits to the terms previously discussed. Iran's foreign ministry issued a statement Thursday condemning the overnight attacks as a flagrant violation of international law that renders the April 8th ceasefire meaningless. The ministry warned the U.S. would bear responsibility for extremely dangerous consequences if escalation continues. Both sides blame each other for violations. The U.S. cites Iranian delays in talks and lack of commitment. Iran cites Israeli attacks on Lebanese Hezbollah positions and claims these violate ceasefire terms. The ceasefire was meant to be unconditional, but both sides have added conditions. This is the critical test. If negotiations resume and hold, this moment stays contained. If they collapse, these strikes mark the ceasefire's end. Why it matters? The overnight strikes reveal the fragile equilibrium. Military action is being used as leverage in negotiations, not as an attempt to reignite full war. Trump says a deal is still possible. Iran says the ceasefire is meaningless. The gap between these statements is where diplomacy happens. Both sides are still negotiating, using military moves as pressure tactics rather than statements of intent to abandon the table. 2. The FIFA World Cup opened at Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Mexico and South Africa played in the tournament's historic first match. The opening ceremony featured simultaneous performances across Mexico City, Toronto, and Los Angeles. Shakira performed the official World Cup song in Mexico. The first match kicked off at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Mexico arrived at the tournament undefeated in 8 international friendlies in 2026. South Africa comes as underdogs after mixed recent form. Notably, Mexican goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa is the only player who appeared in both the 2010 and 2026 tournament openers. 48 teams will compete across 104 matches through July 19th. The tournament expands dramatically to allow 8 third-place finishers to advance to the round of 32, not just 2. The final is July 19th at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Why it matters. The World Cup exists as a deliberate pause in geopolitical chaos. For the next month, 132 nations compete while the Middle East remains destabilized. FIFA's decision to proceed signals confidence in the ceasefire holding. The tournament becomes a measuring stick for peace. If the ceasefire holds through July 19th, FIFA will have operated seamlessly amid conflict. If it collapses, the games continue as an eerie disconnect between global celebration and regional breakdown. 3. U.S. stock markets recovered Thursday as traders bet on contained escalation. The S&P 500 rose 0.83% to 7,327 points. Early losses reversed after Trump announced the overnight strikes were complete. Oracle announced $20 billion in new funding for AI, tanking its stock 10%. Energy prices climbed on escalation concerns. Markets are pricing 2 scenarios. 1. Strikes are contained and negotiations resume. 2. Broader escalation and inflation returns. The stock market's modest gains suggest traders favor scenario 1. But Oracle's stock plunge and tech sector caution suggest deep nervousness persists. Why it matters. The market interpretation reveals confidence in containment, not peace. Traders are betting the escalation is calibrated. If it wasn't, stocks would have fallen much deeper. The fact that markets recovered after strike announcements means traders believe this is leverage building, not war resumption. 4. World Cup hiring added 70,000 jobs in May. The job surprise complicates Federal Reserve decisions. May U.S. employment added 172,000 jobs, beating expectations of 80,000. Leisure and hospitality added 70,000. Local government added 50,000 for tournament security and infrastructure. Bank of America confirmed this concentration reflected World Cup hiring across 16 U.S. cities. This strength raises questions for the Federal Reserve. The central bank considered rate cuts due to labor softening earlier this year. Unexpectedly strong May employment increases the risk that the Fed will hold rates steady or hike. The Fed meets June 16th to 17th. Officials must decide, is May's strength durable or tournament-driven noise? Why it matters. The jobs report shows real economic stimulus from a temporary event. When the World Cup ends July 19th, those 70,000 jobs vanish. The Fed faces a dilemma. Strong numbers suggest the economy is resilient, justifying rate hikes. But the resilience is artificial. Interest rate policy cannot be based on tournament hiring. 5. Pakistan's Interior Minister visited Tehran to mediate U.S.-Iran talks as the ceasefire teeters. Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsen Naqvi arrived in Tehran to meet Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Pakistan has served as intermediary for U.S.-Iran negotiations since February. Uranium enrichment limits and sanctions relief remain unresolved. Iran demands the U.S. lift frozen assets. The U.S. wants Iran to cap enrichment below weapons grade. Neither side has shifted since April talks failed. Pakistan represents the only functioning diplomatic channel. If mediation fails, there is no backup. The ceasefire survives because both sides still use words. When words fail, shooting resumes. Pakistan's continued engagement suggests both sides still want a deal, even as they escalate militarily to improve bargaining positions. Why it matters. Mediation is the last line of defense against escalation. When Pakistani officials are traveling to Tehran despite overnight U.S. strikes, it signals both sides believe a deal remains possible. The moment Pakistan stops showing up is the moment the ceasefire truly dies. Like and subscribe for fact-based news from official government sources only. Leave a comment. Tell us what stories you want to hear.